Missing plane from 1955 landed after 37 years. Here's what happened. Life is full of mysteries, many of which are unsolved. And then some baffling mysteries seem to defy the laws of physics, space, and time. Mysteries like Area 51, the Bermuda Triangle, the Great Sphinx of Giza, and the Stonehenge are only to name a few. All of these wonders fascinate people even today and keep giving us a myriad of conspiracy theories. There are a few other lesser-known mysteries too. This story is about one such mystery that left everyone confused and struggling for answers. The story of the Pan Am Flight 914 has been a matter of intrigue to many people across the planet. Pan Am Flight 914 was a Douglas DC-4 that took off from New York City on July 2, 1955. It carried 57 passengers and 6 crew members, and it was headed for Miami, Florida. For a short while, the flight appeared to proceed normally. It was expected to land in Miami within a couple of hours. But during the flight, something happened that seemingly changed the lives of everyone on the plane. Without any communication, Pan Am Flight 914 disappeared from the radar, and the control room lost contact with the plane. It was as if the aircraft had disappeared into thin air. Authorities went into a frenzy to locate the plane. They assumed that something had gone wrong and the plane had collapsed. Despite many attempts to trace the whereabouts of the plane, nothing could be found. No wreckage was located around the area, and no bodies were found. After months of investigation, authorities concluded that the plane was lost in the sea. The airline compensated the families of the passengers for their loss. The case was assumed closed. But 37 years later, everything changed. On 21st of May 1992, the plane would be found again. A mysterious aircraft suddenly started showing up on the radar at Caracas, Venezuela. An air traffic controller then received a contact signal from the mystery plane. The pilot was voicing his concerns to the tower, shouting, "Where are we?" He continued, "We are Pan Am Airways Flight 914 from New York to Miami with a crew of 6 and 57 passengers." This unbelievable communication stunned the controllers at Caracas. Trying to maintain some control over the situation, the controller began to ask questions to the pilot. He asked if the pilot had experienced any trouble during their flight. Having flown in the opposite direction from New York, the flight was off course by some 1800 km. "Are you Mayday?" asked the controller. But there was no response. After a while, the pilot communicated again. He said that they were scheduled to land in Miami on July 2, 1955, at 9:55 a.m. Then, he started saying that something wasn't right with the view in front of him. The controller broke the news to the pilot as calmly as he could. "This is Caracas International Airport. The date is May 21, 1992. The pilot thought it was some kind of a joke but began breathing rapidly. The controller asked the pilot to remain calm. As the plane prepared to land, the ground handlers could now clearly see the plane. They couldn't believe what they saw. The aircraft was an outdated model. They could see screaming passengers with their faces pressed up against the windows. The ground crew directed the flight to land. Security guards prepared to help the distraught passengers. As they approached the plane, the pilot shouted at them, "No. Do not come near. We are leaving now." The pilot then turned the plane towards the nearest runway. He hastily dropped something out of the window before preparing to fly again, a calendar. He took off, leaving a stunt crew behind. Hours later, the plane landed at its original destination, Miami. The calendar and the tower tapes were reportedly seized by the authorities and were never made public. The passengers and crew were interrogated in Florida by the stunned security officials. There were so many questions that seemed to have no plausible answers. Not one of them had aged a day in these 37 years. Officials wondered how the plane had managed to operate for so long. But the internet resorted to all kinds of theories that are still making the rounds. It became a hot topic on forums with UFO and time travel enthusiasts. The most popular and widely believed theory is that the plane had passed through some kind of time portal or wormhole. But nobody knows how exactly wormholes or time portals might work. What had only been a few hours for the flight members had been 37 years for the rest of the world. The story gained widespread coverage on the internet. Many people even presented their theories backed by what they claimed to be solid evidence. But as much as the theorists wanted the story to be true, it was what it was, a story. It dates to a story first published in 1985 by the Weekly World News, a tabloid that specialized in concocted stories. It was the only tabloid to write about this incident in 3 separate stories. All the stories had a few inconsistencies in terms of the dates and time. The air traffic controller was identified in 2 different photographs. There will always be people who believe otherwise, and they still insist that there is some substance behind the whole thing, which has been kept hidden from us. But as tantalizing as it may sound to many of us, the story just seems to be an elaborate fabrication.